Hey folks, Ty Cohen here from KindleCashflow.com, and we're back with another amazing interview. With me today, I've got Ayo Gutierrez, who's a member of the Kindle Cashflow community, and she's joining us actually all the way from the Philippines. So today we're going to talk about how she is using the Kindle Cashflow platform to build her publishing empire outside of the US, coming from the Philippines. As you guys may know, we have a ton of international students, and I'm pleased and excited to be able to speak to her. I've seen a little bit of what she's done. I've looked at some of your titles as well, and I think they're fantastic. I think you actually have a title in the personal development space as well, and we'll talk about that too, because that's an area that I'm extremely passionate about. But before we get started, folks, if you are not already a member of the Kindle Cashflow community, make sure you visit KindleCashflow.com. And also, when you go in and visit KindleCashflow.com, you'll get a chance to get a free copy of my new book, Kindle Publishing Secrets. So in this book, I put almost everything that I know about Kindle publishing, and you can get a copy right now for free by going to KindleCashflow.com and requesting your free copy. So with that said, I'm extremely happy to have you here. So for the person that's watching this or that's listening to this by podcast, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? And you have children. What's your background? Where do you live? Give us a little bit of detail there.
Thank you, Ty. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited, and I was telling my friends that I'm going to be interviewed by Ty. So I posted on my Facebook about a few minutes ago. Well, to everyone who doesn't know me, I am Ayo Gutierrez, like Ty Cohen said. I live here in the beautiful island of Cebu, known for its famous beaches here in the Philippines. And I'm working as a training and resource manager for our church. So basically, I help people towards in their journey towards better self-reliance in terms of getting education, getting jobs, starting micro businesses, and even managing their finances. So I do those things. And of course, I have my 4 kids. There are a lot of to handle. There are 4. So they're mostly doing online schooling now. And aside from that, I am also a book author. Like Ty said, I am into poetry, nonfiction, specifically motivational and self-help books.
Very cool, very cool. So we've got something in common, and we both have 4 kids. So I've got 2 boys, 2 girls. What do you have?
Well, I have 1 boy and 3 girls. The eldest is, my boy. He's only 10 years old.
Oh, you don't? Okay, that's a good age right there. Our youngest is 13, so very, very cool. So now, let me ask you, how did you first get involved with the Kindle Cashflow program? Like, how did you find out about it? And then what made you decide to jump in?
Well, I think I would like to go back a bit to my writing history, because about 3 years ago when I started writing my first book, and I decided to go for poetry because I write poetry. And that's when, I had all of this trial and errors. I didn't have a mentor to start with when I started 3 years ago. And so I had to do a lot of trial and errors, like I said. And, I've been looking for one to teach me, but just life happened and I had to do things on my own. Most of the things I know now are self-taught. I listen to successful authors, follow their podcasts, but something was missing, Ty, along these years. I think that I have already established my brand as an author, but I still know that I'm still far away from what I wanted to achieve in terms of not just financial, but really the overall package for being an author. So I signed up to your email. I forgot when, but I knew I did that. I don't know, for like over a year or 2 maybe. Oh, wow. I've been following you, been reading your emails, opening them up, but I procrastinated just like most other people, what other people would do, because I thought that, it's just another writing course. It's just another online course. And you know how it is sometimes when you sign up for these courses and then you get disappointed because the content is just really the same. You already know the things that are offered to you. But something really hit me, because this year I told myself, like, I'm happy, but not yet that very contented with what I'm doing. So I promised myself that towards the 4th quarter, end of the year, I would just stop writing. I would just stop doing everything and just evaluate if I am really making or hitting the marks that I set for myself. And that's when I thought that I needed to sign up for a course that will totally change the way I'm doing it. And so when I encountered your program, that's when the aha moment came to me. It's like, this is what I wanted. And so I started with your program about 2 weeks ago, and really, it's just changed the whole ball game for me. And I showed you the recent report from KDP that was only for this October, just like for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And that was when I started with your program. So I told myself, this is really working. And I'm only on my module 4. I'm going so fast, but I'm really excited because now I have to devour the content after this interview, because now you're teaching us how to do market research on nonfiction. And that was my first encounter with this kind of subject. And I said, oh my gosh, I really made the right decision for investing not just my money, but investing my time. And of course, when you say about mentors, I believe in mentorship. And I told myself, Ty Cohen is the right mentor for me.
That's very cool. You know, you said something, and that was, you had to stop and reevaluate what you were doing. Which I thought was really smart, very insightful for you to be able to do that, and to be able to put ego aside, right? Because it takes you being able to say, okay, well, what I'm doing, it may be good and it's got me thus far, but what do I need to do to get to the next level, right? And sometimes it takes 2 different things. It takes us doing different things than what we've been doing, and sometimes it's both of these, doing things differently. So doing things differently in a way that we've been doing it. So for you to be able to do that is amazing. Man, I wish so many more people would do that, because it is challenging. It is challenging to say, let me stop and let me reevaluate something. I think it's really important for people to do that 4 times a year, actually. It's something that I do. I do like these self-assessments and these reevaluations every quarter. And then at the end of the year, you've got that final quarter where it's like New Year's for everyone, right? January 1st, you're going into it. And then you're able to look back and see, well, what did I do well this last quarter or this last year? And let me do more of that. And what did I do wrong? And usually my list of what I did wrong is so much more than what I did right. And let me stop doing, what I did wrong and do more of what I did right. So now you are... you started, you're not publishing romance or anything like that, mystery or sci-fi. At least that's not where you started. You started with poetry, and was that your first piece of content? Was it poetry that you published first, or?
It was poetry, because I thought that but just because I know how to write poetry, that's the genre I would like to pursue. And so far, the experience is great. But then I have my own learnings as well, because you gave us this content about 16 common mistakes that authors make, and I'm like guilty of 5 out of those 16, and those 5 are really the critical ones. And starting with the market research. So I think that it's important that I listen. So when I come to your class, Ty, it's just like I empty my mind for all the things that I know. I come there as a fresh student, like I don't know what you're going to talk about, so I have to really, really internalize everything. And so with poetry, I realized it's something that I started with, and it's a good foundation for writing, because eventually I want to really pursue the one which I like, which is historical romance. But I still have, like I said, when I encountered the 4th module, it's about time for me to just really start all over again in terms of what do I want to achieve now? What do I want to write about now? Because you mentioned specifically over and over in that course that it's not really about the quantity, but I have the quantity already. But you said, is it really the right direction to go? I might be running, towards the race, but it might be the wrong race that I am running. So I have to make sure that, hey, wait, Ayo, you just have to stop for now and just finish everything. There's a lot of things that you will learn in this course. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you started as a clean slate. I think that's another thing that sometimes it, like to say, let me stop and start all over again as a brand new student. So now you're looking into market research, right? Which I think is the number one and most important thing for anyone that's getting started with publishing, is to know who your audience is, and then to even know if there's a marketplace out there, right? Because sometimes we might have these ideas, and it may be like we might have an idea for a book on how to collect flying pig thumbnails, right? Or how to collect flying pig mugs. And like, we love flying pig mugs. We got them all over our house, right? We've been collecting them for 20 years, but no one else buys it. You know,
Exactly.
our heart and soul into this. And now that's an extreme example, right? But it could be anything. It could be anything like that we're really passionate about. And sometimes I think that the wrong thing to do is to fall in love with an idea so much that we get blinded by the fact that no one else wants it. So doing the market research to find out, number one, if there's people that actually are interested in it, and then number two, to find out if people are willing to part with their money for it. Are they interested? Because there's interest, right? But then are they interested enough to say, here's some cash for your book idea? Right, so for you to go back and do that was amazing and incredible. So what other genres are you considering publishing to? And I know that you have, again, some self-help titles. I saw one that you co-authored. I don't want to talk about that one yet because I want to save that. Again, I want to really jump into that because I'm excited. I'm going to go and buy that one myself, and I want to give it to everyone that's listening so that they can go in and get it. Because I kind of went in and I did a sneak peek, and I think it's very, very, very powerful in terms of content. But what other genres are you publishing to besides poetry and self-help?
Well, actually, I've done a lot of poetry. That has been my direction in the last 3 years, joining anthologies, joining with other international poets as well. And I think that I came to a point where I only knew poets. So I confined myself in a very small niche, in a very small market where all of us are writing poetry. So that's when I knew that, hey, I needed to do something so that I could up my game. I can go to the next level. And that's when I started, publishing other authors. And still I know that, hey, it's like, it's like a detour again from my original plan. And so I needed direction in this one, Ty. And I think that it's okay because if there are a lot of people already writing for that and you have the same audience, you have the same readers, then you are competing with a very small niche. And I don't think that's going to be helpful for me in the long run. Plus, I concentrated all my efforts in just one social media platform. And I'm not saying it's too late, but I could have had started with other social media platforms that would give or yield greater results. For example, I'm already on Facebook and I have built my, let's say, empire presence there. But I forgot that there are other social media platforms that could yield better results. And that's where I think I fell short. I'm saying all of these confessions not because I'm saying that I'm a failure, but I realized that going further, going ahead of this game, I need to put some strategies here. Like you said about this footing on your foundation is so important. And that's when I realized that, okay, it's really it. I really made the right decision for doing this. But for now, I stopped doing poetry and really concentrated because I realized and I discovered that people are actually wanting me to write this. And so I started with really doing motivational and self-help books. That's where I started seeing better results than all of those years combined just doing poetry.
Very cool, very cool. Some of the first books that I started publishing were, the very first books that I published were music related. So, because I had attempted to start a record company, I had a record company and it didn't work out. So I published a few books around the music business, but then I published a couple of books initially around personal development and self-help and motivation. And to this day, I continuously publish those types of books because I publish books that I would like to read, right? So, if the numbers work out and if the audience is there, right, doing the market research, books that I would like to read, and it's worked really well. So you said something very smart, and I think that is that you wanted to up your game, right? Like you wanted to become better, and being in the group that you were in limited you because it's just a group of poets, which is fine, right? Because that's where you'll get your base from and everything else. But now you said, I need to get in another group where there's other genres, there's people that are publishing other types of material, because maybe I can learn about what they're doing and incorporate that into what I'm doing as well. Have you found that in the Kindle cash flow community? Like, you see so many different people that are publishing from different genres. What's been your biggest takeaway from being part of the Kindle cash flow community so far?
Well, for me, the right environment is extremely important to your success. So just seeing all of this positive, all of this, either aha moments as well, no matter how little, just celebrating small successes is something that I thrive on. So as my spirit feeds on this kind of positivity, this energy, and I really like that. It's like people here are really serious about bringing their game to the next level. And I said, wow, this is my community. I have to be here. I need to be contributing. I have to be silent for now because I don't think there's something else yet that I have to share, but I know eventually. So I think it is a real challenge for me, just seeing all of these successful people, and they're not really bashful, or they're not ashamed about saying we just made $1, $2 here. But then you see other authors doing this $1,000, like, really, how can I get from this point A to point B? How can I be like, Ty, Josh, or Marty, or Seth? So these are now my mentors. These are now my, people that I look up to right now. And I think that it's important that when you do some kind of modeling, it's not just about following the people that you admire. It's really not just about what they have, what the amount of success that they have achieved, but really who they are. Because I know it's important, we do have, the most important thing is, who are you going to be? The person we're talking about. Because eventually, after all of the lights have faded, even after your book promotions expire, but the kind of brand that you are bringing to people, that's very important. I took social media marketing, and one of the lessons that I learned there is that you limit the things that people see in you. And that's my greatest takeaway there. And here, that's what I am seeing. Every move of the author, every student that I see on our community, it's just, doing what they're supposed to do based on what we are learning. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I really have to do better in this community. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty humbling, right? To be able, like, even for myself, when I'm in the group and I'm saying, someone posts, hey, I just made my first $4, right? Or you see someone who says, hey, I'm at $35,000 a month, right? Or someone who says I'm at $100 a month, or someone who says I'm at $20,000 a month. It is so cool because it brings me back to day one, and that feeling of seeing, like, the first couple of sales that came in, right? Which I think I think when you make like your first dollar, I think it's so exciting because then you know that it's possible. Like, you make your first $10 and then you're checking your sales. Like, I was always checking my sales. I would check myself. Now I don't check them as much because I'm used to it. But before, I would be on my phone all the time, just checking myself, hitting refresh. Do you find yourself doing that as well, or am I the only crazy one that does that?
Well, now I am doing that because you said we have to document everything. So as a good student, I am doing that. But you don't have to count yours because I don't think you can count it already.
So you just got into the program 2 weeks ago, right? So about 2 weeks ago. How long did it take for you to jump in? Like, you got the program. When did you start?
I started the day after. Okay. And even if I wanted to just get all the content in just a few days, because I am a fast learner and I manage my time well, but this time it's totally different for me. It's just that I have to take in one bite at a time, because what's important here is what I am getting, and what if I am applying those things. So I don't want to like hurry or rush things, but I really started the day after I took the course.
Gotcha.
I'm spending about 1 hour, like at this hour before I start anything, to just take a few lessons from the modules. I forgot how many modules are there, but I am here for a long time, rather. Sorry.
Gotcha. So you got the course, and then the next day you started, which is super important. So if you're watching this and you're listening to this on podcast, two things. Number one, I want to do a quick shameless plug. If you are listening to this, make sure you go in and watch this interview as well on kindlecashflow.com/YouTube. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching us on YouTube, go in and subscribe to the podcast so that you can listen to this again by going to kindlecashflow.com/podcast. Now, this is something that I see is a trait amongst highly successful people. That is, they are immediate action takers, right? I have a phrase actually, and that is action takers are money makers. You got the course, and then the next day you started it. Like, I'll see people who will get the program, and sometimes they don't start it for like 30 days later. I've had one lady who said she started it a year later.
My goodness.
Right? Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, think about like how much further along you could have been had you started like even a week after you got it, right? I don't think that's that bad. Maybe 2 weeks, I don't think that's that bad. But the fact that you started a day after you got it was amazing. I think that's beautiful. So now let's talk about your book. I want to talk about your book here, the personal development title. You have a title, and I think this is amazing. It's Tuesday, Life is a Matter of Choice. Can you tell us a little bit about that book, Tuesday, Life is a Matter of Choice?
Oh yeah, thanks, Ty. Well, at the start of the pandemic, like here in the Philippines, we had this lockdown in March. I found myself really having the time that I needed, because before I was a very busy person. I would travel and I didn't really have time for other things. But here, I thought about what could I write with, something that can really change the lives of other people. And I also have known, because of my work before and because of my travels, I have been acquainted with some of the prominent people in my country. Right. And one of those, or two of those people that I know are also international consultants. One is James Montone, and the other one is the franchising guru of the Philippines, who is Butz Bartolome. And this is how I work, Ty. When I wanted to collaborate with someone, I reached out to them and I asked them. That's the first thing I did with my first book, when I asked a couple of authors to join me in the anthology. And I don't know them, but I approached them, and luckily, fortunately, I get all of their yeses. So these two guys said yes to me, and that's when we started. And I had this idea in mind that, if I wanted to do like a self-help book, it's because of the content. I want it to be a simple read. It's something that like bite-sized pieces of advice or information that I wanted to give out to people. So that's when I came up with the alphabet theme. Like, we would write words, we would select words and then expound on it, and from A to Z. So the three of us agreed that we are going to write our A to Z. And in this journey, we were so fortunate as well to have some people give us reviews. We even have Rich Christensen, a famous, a best-selling author, to write our foreword. And there were also other people who are also very successful. We have one, Jim Ritchie from Franklin Covey, and he wrote one of the reviews. So this is pretty great experience for me, because this is really the discovery time, because I realized I have the potential. This is a whole new market that opened up for me. Poetry, I really love it. I don't think I'm gonna hate this. This is my first love, my first passion, so I wouldn't abandon it. But for the mere fact that people are reading this book, and just yesterday I received 2 emails, and they were just telling me how great the book was, how inspired they were when they were reading this. And I posted on my Facebook actually, because it's not really like looking for self-validation, but it's more of getting validation that I am doing the right thing. That this is the kind of material that my audience wants from me. Okay, I realized that even before that poetry is just a small niche. It's really a specialty market. Not a lot of people read it. Maybe for fun, for pleasure, but it's not something that you pick up every day and just go over it for hours. But if you wanted to change your life, something that will alter the course of the history of your life, then a self-help or motivational book would do that. And that's when the biggest discovery came here. It hits me hard. So I'm really happy with what happened with Tuesday, because on the first day of its release, it is already an Amazon bestseller.
Very cool. Wow. So Amazon bestseller, first day of release. You partnered up on this book here. If you're listening, if you're watching, make sure you visit Amazon.com and type in Tuesday, Life is a Matter of Choice. You cannot go wrong with this. As I said, it's on my buy list. I actually added it in the shopping cart on Amazon as well. So I think your process of being able to co-author is amazing, because that helps you to get past having to write a book yourself, if you're a writer, right? Where you've got to come up with all the content on your own, right? You have to piece everything together. So are you always planning on writing your content yourself, or are you thinking about incorporating ghostwriters, or what?
Well, I've been collaborating since I started. I think that was the direction, and I made great progress with that, having invited a lot of authors from all over the world. And it's a pretty amazing journey for me. And I just realized, Ty, that I don't even have my first book yet. I have my own collection of poetry, which is Yearnings. This is my first collection of poetry. But moving forward now, I realized that I also wanted to make a distinct mark for myself. Like, I wanted to do a book just on my own. No co-authors this time, just me.
Just me.
Yeah. So wish me luck.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the person that's watching this, right, and they think, hey, yeah, maybe I should get a co-author. Maybe I should collaborate with a couple of co-authors. Can you walk us through that process? Like, for someone that has never done it before, how would they get in contact with someone that you think would be a good co-author?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I operate on this principle that you have to provide value first before asking people. I'm not like the kind of person that I don't know you, or this is the first time that I see you, and then I will send a friend request and then I will ask you to collaborate with me or to co-author with me. That doesn't work that way. What you wanted to do is just first to establish yourself, make a good presence on whatever platform you're doing, create some good noise about yourself. And that's how you will establish the value that I'm saying here, because eventually this is really the value proposition, what you bring to the table. And then you have to decide what is the direction of this book. At the end of the day, what's going to be the end goal for this book. And that's the only time for you when you will consider the people you would like to work with. My process, Ty, is really when I admire a writer, I follow their works and I buy their books. One of the mistakes I think that writers do is that they don't buy other people's books. And with that kind of attitude, you don't expect other people to buy your book as well. So I think that it's important that you first establish the good rapport, or the relationship should be there, because you will be writing with this person. And you really have to get to know the person. That's how I do it. So I buy their books, I offer them reviews without asking for anything. Not at all. But and eventually,
that value there, huh?
Yeah, and after that, they will see your sincerity. You are genuine. It's not like you are after for what you're gonna ask from them. Like, what's in it for me? People, you cannot really dispel the kind of thought from people that, what does this lady want from me? Okay, because she bought my book, she offered reviews, nothing like that. But when you have built the relationship already, that's where you lay down your cards and you just ask pretty simple like this, like, do you want to co-author with me? I have this idea in mind. Is this something that you want to work with? And if that is the kind of approach and the connection and the relationship is already there, I'm pretty sure, because you will get the yes that you needed. Let me just take an example. My first venture, the first book that I wrote, Bards from the Far East, it's a collection of haiku poems, the Japanese traditional poems. Okay. I have been eyeing this mentor for quite a while, and she's one of the most prominent poets, not here in the Philippines, but she is a Phil-Am, and she's really a multi-awarded. She has done a lot of books. She's also an editor and publisher, and she's the kind of person I wanted to work with. So I asked her, Ty, and you know what? She wrote my foreword for the first book that I wrote, and since then the relationship just keeps getting stronger, and then we have collaborated in a number of books already. So I think that's how you do it. First, just provide the value first for the person.
So provide the value. I think that's awesome. Provide the value. Go out, buy their books, offer to leave them a review. And there's this in persuasion, right, there's this thing known as the law of reciprocity, and that is you do something good for me, I'll do something good for you, right? It's part of human nature. It's like you go through a set of double doors and you hold the doors for someone that's coming through, then they're going to be more inclined to hold those doors for you. And they're actually going to try to rush to hold the doors for you the next time because they want to return that favor. So I think it's very smart for you to go in and approach potential authors in that way. Hey, let me buy your book so I can familiarize myself with what it is that you're publishing. I can actually go in and kind of build this rapport in my head before even reaching out to them. Do you find that a lot of these authors are having other people reach out to them, or no? Like, is it something that, because I can imagine the person that's watching this or that's listening might say, well, I don't want to be the 100th person that's reaching out to an author to see if they want to co-author with me. Do you think that's the case?
You'll never know till you ask that person, because in my experiences collectively, people are excited to collaborate with someone whom they think also that it's going to be how do you call that word, but it's going to be a good journey together. Like, most successful people, you think that they are they're gonna snob you or they're not gonna entertain you, but surprisingly, the most successful ones are the most receptive ones. I don't know, it's just something that I have been uncovering in the last years. Even in my work, the real wealthy, the real people who have done it, they are very humble and approachable. And I think because they understand the process that they went through, and they have this heart, they have this sympathy for those who are just starting. When a person sees that you are really serious committed about your journey towards being, towards success, people would love to help you. That's one thing that I learned in all of these years of collaborating with, I don't know, almost like 200 authors already, or maybe going to 300. They're gonna open their doors for you, regardless of race, regardless of faith. I have friends who are totally different from me. Like, right, their views, political views, spiritual views, everything in between. They're just so different. But, I love diversity. That's when you respect people, and then that's when you realize as an author, you will grow. Because now you're seeing a lot of different perspectives. And that's how you grow as well as an author. To finally realize, hey, it's not just my ideas that matter, but I have to hear out everyone here. So that's
you're so right. I think that when you look at people that have reached a certain level of success, they want to give back, and they're so approachable for the most part, right? Every once in a while, you'll get someone that's difficult, but overall, they're like so approachable, very humble. They want to give back, and they're actually honored by your hunger. They're honored by the fact that you would reach out to them. There was a period where, I was approaching a lot of really successful people to have them on my podcast a couple of years ago. And it was so easy to get these people, like, to reach out to them and to get them, especially with social media now. You can reach out to people in so many different ways. As a matter of fact, if I come back over here, so the motivational speaker, Les Brown, he actually did the forward for this, and that was a matter of reaching out, and I got a reply back like in less than 24 hours. So,
amazing. He's my favorite motivational speaker. My husband and I, he's our favorite. And I'm so jealous right now.
So you got to reach out to Les Brown and have look at that. So I love the fact that over 200 authors you've co-authored with. Hey, we got to bring you back, because I want to interview you again whenever you have some time, and I want to talk about this process of getting co-authors on board even more. I want to go into a lot more detail on that. And I think that's actually a book idea that you could possibly publish right there, or a program, or some type of course. Now, speaking of course or program, I know you do coaching, right? Are you an author? Did I read that right? Are you an author coach as well?
Yes, that's how I came to be a book coach. That's how people call me now, because I have launched several authors already, particularly in the field of poetry and self-help. I don't do fiction because I haven't written one. I don't think I have the expertise and I don't have the right to do that. So I have to, so that's how they call me. Yeah, I am a book coach.
Next year we'll come back and you'll be the expert in fiction as well. I know it. I can sense it.
Thank you so much, Ty.
So what do you offer for someone? Someone that wants to get involved, they want to say, hey, Ayo, I need some help with getting my book out there, because I know you have a few Amazon bestsellers, right? You're this international book coach, and you've got people literally from across the planet that are reaching out to you. How would someone know that you're the right person to work with? Like, who do you look to work with?
Yeah, so I help people because, I got lost in the process, even with the KDP publishing when I started. And that's where the biggest hurdle comes to new authors. They can write, yes, but they can publish, yes, self-publish. But I think the amount, the level of having the superstars, that's what I call my program now, the author superstars. It's something that we all want. It's not just we want to publish and the book will be sitting on the shelves of Amazon there. But what we want to do is to successfully launch these new authors, to have this celebrity status launch. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of authors right now. I've seen them like, hey, I have a book right now. I post it on Facebook. And they don't talk about it anymore. It's just there. And nothing, there's no marketing happening here. And I think that part of a big chunk of the success of an author really lies on marketing your book, how you talk about it, how you promote it, how you get people to read it and to buy it eventually, because that's really the end goal here. But that's the thing that we don't have. New authors do not, and they don't have the slightest idea how to go about it. And so that's where I come in and offer them really a solid framework how to do it. And I've seen this because the last months that I've been helping authors get published, they become Amazon bestsellers. There is really this strategy. There is really this book marketing processes that they need to know so that they can become bestsellers. And if you get that badge, it's something that you have to be very proud of. And it's something that you're going to create a mark or a name for yourself. Yeah. And that's why I'm doing these live interviews as well, Ty, so that people would know I'm really modeling everything that I am suggesting to people. I'm not this quack doctor that, hey, you can do this, you should do this, or you should do that, without me having done this. So when I took your course, it's because I have a strong belief that this is something that I can incorporate in my processes here. And one thing that I've learned is it's not really just about being personality driven, because I have been personality driven for the longest time. I wanted to become system driven now. And this program, Kindle Cash Flow program, is really giving me the system that I need to put in place, so that everything now, it's not just about, oh, because it's Ayo made her this bestseller, it's because Ayo, because of her. No, I don't want that. It's because they are doing something out of a system that works, and your program works. So yeah, I'm putting all my faith in this one, and I'm willing to put in the work. Of course, it's not something like, this program doesn't work and I'm gonna blame Ty because I am not successful yet, or I'm not hitting my financial goals. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I tried it for 1 hour and it's a piece of junk. It doesn't work at all. So that's it.
You have a lot of those.
Yeah. Oh my God. You get some. It's a button. I push this button. Oh, the button didn't work, and that's that. How long did you try the system? I tried it for 12 minutes. 12 minutes? What do you mean?
You know what, Ty? Let me just tell you something. When you have this fast call that we had to schedule an interview with you. So when I hit that button and it says there people from the Philippines and other countries cannot schedule because I don't know what's the reason. Like I think there's some technical reason for saying that. Yeah. And I said, oh, I cannot. And you're all clamoring, you're all cheering for this, that you have to schedule the fast call. And I couldn't schedule mine. So what would I do? Typically, if I am that distracted or demotivated person, I would just say, oh my gosh, this is the first module and this is not happening for me. I would just drop it. But I said, it's okay. But having this, Ty interviewing me is more than the fast call that I needed. So it's okay.
There you go. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. So, I want to go back to something that you talked about. You said marketing is like one of the most important components, right? Where I think what happens with authors, especially diehard authors, so authors that are writing their own content, I think they forget about the marketing side of things. I think they'll go in, they'll create this content, and like you said, they'll post on Facebook, right? We have another group, it's called Ebook World. So if you guys want to join it, you can join it for free. It's over at on Facebook. If you just type in Ebook World, WORLD, you can join it there. But and that's a group that I actually took over. I got from someone else, and there's 27,000 people that are in that group. And the only thing that I see where most of those authors have a similarity is that they'll come in and they'll post a link to their book, and that's it. So I reach out every once in a while. I'm like, hey, whatever. I see that you posted a link to your book. Whatever marketing are you doing? Oh, well, I posted it in a few other Facebook groups. And I'm like, no, that is not marketing. Like that's not what you do. So I want to kind of revisit that because I want to hammer it in everyone's head how important marketing is, and the fact that you brought it up. I've done a lot of these interviews, and you're one of the first to really talk about the importance of that. What was the difference that you saw in your own books when you started to market versus when you were not marketing?
Your question is, what are the changes that took place when I started marketing?
Yeah, versus
my book.
Yes, because there was a part. I'm guessing that there was a point when you didn't market, right? Like when you first started writing, you probably were not marketing, and then you had to realize, hey, I need to start marketing my books to get more people, more visibility.
Okay, I was fighting this belief that poetry doesn't sell. I have a lot of people telling me, why are you going to write that? Because people will not buy your book. I took it as a personal challenge. So when I launched my first book, I gave my all. I had this physical book launch. I invited people. I talked to 5 different stations, media. I invited them, some from TV, some from newspapers. I got advertised on radio. I really prepared the blueprint for success on this one. And they all came, and the authors came. And then I also talked to the local librarian in our city and offered the book. And till today, the book is on display. And that was 3 years ago. So you can just imagine the small things that you would do for your book. And talking to media, that's important because you're going to get a big mileage for this. And in my country, we only have a few networks that are vying for this, number 1 spot. And getting on any of those TV stations can get me this far. And true enough, after 1 week, I was invited by the general manager of a TV station, and he offered me to do a travel show. I would host a travel show. And I haven't done a travel show. I am a mass communication graduate. But it's also one of my dreams back then when I was in college. But I didn't know how to make it happen. In fact, I wasn't really, going to that trajectory. After college, I went to sales, I went to training and development. So that has been my career. But here is an offer of a lifetime to become a travel show host with a station. So I took it and I became a travel show host. And I wrote the script, I directed it, I even opened my company so that I could, I would be the producer of my own show. And he has become one of my best mentors, one of my greatest friends. And that was when I realized that when you just, your book is really your business. Some people see it like an end product. I'm done writing my book. Yes. But for me, a book is something that can give you a multiple income streams and eventually your passive income. And that's how I treat each one of my books. And I think that that's the kind of message that I've been sending. That's the message I've been sending to people elsewhere, so that when I invite them to come and collaborate with me, they know that they will have an international exposure. Because I really try to forge my way to get a footing of all of this. If I don't know something, I wanted to try it, but not just because I want to do it like somebody else does it, but I want to dominate it. So I try to put in some system that would work for me. And so book marketing, I might go too far from the topic, but book marketing is really doing a lot of things. Sorry, Ty.
No, I said this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I feel like there's so much more. We definitely have to bring you back. I want to talk to you about so much more, like co-authoring. I want to talk to you about book marketing. So if you're up for it, I would love to do a part 2. We'll bring you back a couple of months from now. We'll do a part 2. If you're watching this interview right now, or if you're listening to it, I want you to go in and comment more Ayo. Her name is spelled Ayo. So it's like, you know how kids say, hey, more macaroni or more whatever, right? I want more Ayo. Ayo. And once we get 100 comments, we're going to bring you back because, again, co-authoring, right? No one really talks about that. No one talks about how you can get in. And I think there may be the stigma that it's harder than it actually is, right? So I'd love to bring you back when we talk about the step-by-steps on that. And then also marketing. I have a feeling that there's some things that you were doing that are really phenomenal, right? That you're doing with your students and your coaching clients. Speaking of coaching, how can someone get in contact with you if they wanted to just pick your brain, or if they wanted to maybe say, hey, Ayo, what do you have to offer?
Thank you, Ty. I'm really thankful for this opportunity. Thank you so much for your generosity. You know, I don't think you need me, but just saying yes to this, I was like, you've seen me. I was raising my hand. Ty, I'm ready for my interview. So thank you so much. And yeah, make sure that it gets 100 comments on this one. So don't forget to type it.
And what she's talking about, listen, before you answer that, right? What she's talking about with raising her hand is, in our community, our Facebook community, we've got like 13,000 people that are there. And I said, listen, I'm looking to interview some of the students that are part of the Kindle Castro program. I forget exactly how I worded the post, but basically I ended it with money, love, speed. And, you know, I'm always about taking quick action, right? Calculated quick action. And she was one of the first to like raise her hand. Now, that's probably not a surprise because as you heard, she got the course and she jumped into it the day after. And like, she's just this rocket of ambition and possibility. So that's what she meant by raising her hand and just being one of the first ones to say, hey, interview me. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but interview me, we'll do it. Hey. So
thank you so much. I believe that, you know, the word impossible is just the same as I'm possible. You just have to put an apostrophe there. So you become possible. So you can catch me on Facebook. That's Ayo Gutierrez. But since I cannot add friends there, you can just go to my author page, which is Ayo Gutierrez also. The same, you know, it's just a different photo. And then you can reach me at gmgapublishing@gmail.com. And if you type in Ayo Gutierrez, you can also see my YouTube channel there and some of the interviews or other things that I have done. Like what Ty said, I am really into this book marketing because I really believe that the success comes here after, no matter how good author you are, if you don't know how to market or if you don't know how to talk about your books, then definitely you're missing the point here. If you are here for the long run, make sure that you set the right foundation as well for your marketing. So yeah, that's it, Ty. They can just find me on Facebook. I'm everywhere there.
So she's everywhere. So make sure you go out and reach out to her, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, or sending her an email. We'll include those links as well in this video, so you'll have them to go in and click on. We probably won't include the email, but you can go in, because I don't want you to get a ton of spam, but you can, like spam bots, right, that crawl the internet, but you can go back and find this and get her email address. Make sure you make a note of it. And please only send her an email if you're serious about taking things to the next level. So I want to close this out. I want to be thankful of your time. Let's give the person that is listening or watching this right now that may be outside of the US, who's kind of hesitant about the Kindle Castro program and they don't know if it'll work for them because they're not in the US, right? Even though we have students that are in 126 different countries, not everyone realizes that. So as for someone that's in the Philippines, if you've got someone that may be in Mexico or in Canada or in Italy or France or India or in the Philippines that's watching this and they want to get started with Kindle Castro but they're hesitant, what would you say to that person?
Well, you just have to drop in all your doubts and you'll never know until you really do it. There is an investment here, but money should never be the issue. when I decided to go for this program, I made sure that I put some of my savings from my royalty and get this program. Mentoring is such a critical component of success when you want to achieve something, whether you're an author, you're an artist, or anyone. You get someone who's better, who's really doing it, someone who is really a role model for you. And it comes with an investment. And I think that if you don't accept the fact that you have to shell out something, then you are really missing the point. Because eventually, when you have an offering, a product or a service, and you're gonna ask people, they're gonna think of the same way if they cannot go around this kind of attitude. So for me, it's in your hands. You know, you have a good teacher, but that doesn't mean that you will become successful, because it takes two ways. You have a good teacher, and you also have to become a good student, and that's where success comes in. And you don't spend like 5 or 10 minutes in this program. It's you don't do that. This is something that you have to dig in. It's something that you have to start applying right after you hear it. The first module will change the way you think, your mindset. It will get you into the fast start of doing things. You know what I love about this, Ty, is that you told us again, because I believe in doing goals. You know, I have this vision board at home where I would put it on my wall and just look at it on a daily basis. I write them down, my goals. But listening to you once again and reaffirming all of these things just tell me that I am in the right place. And second, after you have got a mentor, you have to be in the right environment. Because, you know, just like money, if you want to save, but all of the rest of your family are spenders and they're not savers, you're going to do the same eventually. And they're going to put pressure on you because they are spending and you are saving. So totally different things. But here in Kindle Cash Flow, in our community, people are aiming for one thing, and that is to become better. It doesn't matter where you start, how small it is, but what's important is that we keep moving forward. And I love the kind of trajectory all the time where people are just trying, because that tells you that it's okay. It's just okay that you're just, you know, small right now, but eventually you have this goal in mind and everything becomes possible. Everything is possible. That's my take on this life. And you know what? There is no royal road to excellence. So you have to put in the hard work. That is counting on you, not on Ty, not on his team, but it's on you.
There you go. If it's to be, it's up to me. Very well said. I think the community is so important. So for you to really express that and what you've gotten out of it is a beautiful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to get her back. So 100 comments, more Ayo, AYO in the comment section, and we'll see her again. Ayo, thank you. This has been a pleasure. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. I can't wait to speak to you again.
Thank you so much, Ty. Have a great day.